Yeah, thanks very much, everyone, and good afternoon, everyone. My name's Aidan Platel, and I'm the Managing Director of Auroch Minerals. Very happy to be here today to be able to present to you two very exciting advanced nickel exploration projects here in Western Australia, our Saints and Leinster nickel projects. So Auroch Minerals is a focused base metals explorer here in Australia, and under that umbrella we're very much focused on nickel sulphide exploration here in Western Australia. We have a very strong nickel-focused board and senior management, and quite recently we've bolstered our exploration team by adding Pete Michelli, an excellent nickel sulphide geologist who spent the last 15 odd years around the Kambalda region working on and discovering some pretty major high-grade nickel sulphide deposits. So he's brought a wealth of knowledge and experience to our small team. Just quickly touching on the corporate snapshot of the company here. We're still a very tightly held company with only 133 million shares on issue, 43 million options, and at current share price we have a very low market cap of only $9 million. So moving on to our projects, at the end of August we acquired the Saints and Leinster nickel sulphide projects. What immediately drew us to these projects that they are both very much underloved assets in fantastic location in the Norseman-Wiluna Greenstone Belt, arguably the best place globally for nickel sulphide mineralisation, and certainly home to many Tier 1 nickel sulphide high-grade projects, several of which sit directly along strike from our projects. We have excellent access. Both projects are very close to the Goldfields Highway. We have power, good communications, and a key part of this part of the world is there is excellent processing capacity throughout the region. We have BHP's Mount Keith and Leinster plants near the Leinster Township. The recently acquired Saracen's Sinclair plant, Poseidon's Black Swan plant quite close to our Saints tenements, and then obviously Kambalda concentrator further to the south. Again, both projects very attractive because both have existing high-grade massive nickel sulphide resources already and some very advanced exploration targets that we can aim at targeting and building on our existing resources. So firstly, having a look at the Saints nickel project. Saints comprises two mining leases of about 20 square kilometres. As I said, an existing high-grade massive sulphide resource of over 21,000 tonnes of contained nickel at 2% and some good copper and cobalt credits as well. This resource basically sits in those three main areas you can see there, St Patrick's, St Andrews and the Western Contact. The resource remains open down plunge along strike, so certainly can organically grow this resource. But for us, the potential is really the feeder channel. In this whole system, the main feeder channel has yet to be discovered. We've got all this high-grade, massive nickel sulphides. Where's it come from? So that for us was a big attraction for the Saints. In September last year, straight after the acquisition, we jumped into a 3,000 metre diamond drilling program at Saints. We had some very specific goals that we achieved in this recon drilling program. We certainly wanted to test the high-grade massive sulphide mineralisation that was comprising the existing resource, particularly at St Pat's. So we did some infill drilling there, and as you can see, 5-6 metres at over 2.2% nickel, some intervals of up to 10% nickel and significant copper grades as well. So we certainly achieved that. We then attacked some existing historic downhole EM plates that were hanging off the known mineralisation, and several holes encountered further massive sulphides, high-grade nickel sulphides. So we've extended the known mineralisation along strike and down plunge. But then for us, as I said, was all about the untested areas. So as you can see in that big oval shape there, the all-important footwall contact, which is going to host this channel mineralisation, there's large areas that have never been drilled, so we drilled some deeper holes into that and gained important downhole EM and some multi-element data that's critical for vectoring in on this channel mineralisation. So since completing that diamond program, we've really turned our focus into really looking for this main feeder channel mineralisation. So just quickly for the non-geologists out there, when I'm talking about this feeder channel mineralisation, we have here in the, this schematic section of what a nickel sulphide, komatiitic nickel sulphide deposit looks like. If you like to think of a river, these channels, the lava flows down the channel much like a river, often breaks its banks, and over time you get it building up and spreading out. So you can get massive nickel sulphide exploration on the flanks and up in what we call the hanging wall position, and that's certainly what's comprising our resource at Saints at the moment and what we're seeing at Saints now. But obviously the channels where the most lava flows through, it's the hottest, it has the most time for the nickel sulphides to settle. And so at the base of these channels there, you get big, thick, high-grade, massive sulphides, and obviously that's the main prize of these deposits and what we're intending to find at Saints. So we did a lithogeochemical review over the last couple of months, and it certainly opened up a lot of opportunities. Firstly, I think that big focus, that big black line there is the main focus. That's that main footwall contact, that basal contact where the channels might sit. We started seeing certain areas where we could see new channels developing, so we've done a short air core program in January to really firm up on our interpretation there. We haven't got the results from the lab back on those, but we've certainly from the XRF and the logging, we're pretty happy with the results, and these channel targets certainly seem to be developing well. So from that air core drilling and from our lithogeochemical review, we've basically updated our geological map and a whole new geological interpretation of the Saints, which is pretty important. Again, you can see that thick black line. It's that all-important basal footwall contact. You can see in the stratigraphic column there that channel, like the schematic section I showed earlier. So it's all about those purples, which are the ultramafics sitting on that footwall basalt. You can see from the thrusting in the south, that's a new interpretation there, that we've opened up new hundreds of metres of new strike within potentially new channels. So we're getting pretty comfortable now that we're getting a good handle on the geology here at Saints. Now, from 50 odd years of mining these things around Kambalda and 50 something odd deposits, known deposits there are certain key ingredients or exploration hurdles, if you like, that all of these deposits, well, nearly all of these deposits have. The first one, obviously, once you've got the right rocks, you need to have a magnetic high right on the basal contact, and as you saw from the previous slide, we certainly have those at Saints. The next step you need to have is significant nickel sulphide mineralisation in the immediate vicinity in the ultramafic package, and obviously we have a very high-grade resource of massive nickel sulphide, so we've ticked that box. The third step then is you really need to have a mineralised basal flow with high tenor nickel sulphides. We've done some tenor work, and particularly at the St Andrews area there, we're seeing tenors of 12 to 15%, which is certainly above the 10% rule of thumb cutoff. So the next step for us and what we're aiming to do in this upcoming drill program is then to have a high-grade nickel sulphide intersection in drilling sitting right on that basal contact. So obviously as you go down, you're increasing the possibility. So having ticked off three steps already at Saints, we're really increasing the possibility of finding a major nickel sulphide deposit here at Saints. So if we just have a look at that geology, in particular that footwall contact in 3D, we can clearly see here the 4 channels that we've got, known channels, so St Patrick's, St Andrews. We've confirmed 2 more channels here in the south, and then 1, 2 and 3 emerging channels, as I said, that we're waiting for results, but these certainly shaping up nicely. On the inset there, we have that same 3D long section. You can see the red there, that's the existing mineralisation, the existing resource wireframes that are sitting in the hanging wall positions above St Patrick's and St Andrews channels. You can also see the light grey of all the drill traces there, so plenty of historic drilling, but then when you look back at the main figure there in the dots, you can see just how few of these holes actually hit that all-important basal contact. So, these channels are typically only 100, 200 metres wide, And so there's hundreds of metres of strike of this footwall contact that is yet to be tested, so plenty of room for even further channels at Saints. So the upside's pretty good for exploration. The little dots you can see are the grade of the average grade of the basal flows, so you can certainly see at St Pat's and St Andrews. Definitely very much mineralised flows, and even in the new channels that we've identified. And this area here certainly is shaping up to be our #1 priority target. You can see a known channel, 2 possible channels there in close proximity. So usually if you're getting many channels in close proximity, it might be closer to the vent source, it's closer to the lava source. Mineralised basal flows, high tenor, and then of course you can see on the top over there's a small salt lake, and so very few drill holes there south of St Andrews, probably because of that salt lake, and therein lies the opportunity for us. So certainly some advanced channel targets which we aim to plan to drill this year. Moving on to our other exciting nickel project, we have the Leinster nickel sulphide project, close to the township of Leinster. 2 ELs comprising 112 square metres. Again, a historic high-grade massive sulphide resource, but it's JORC 4 resource, so a little bit of work to bring it into JORC 12 so we can actually discuss it at the Horn. Again, as you can see there from the long section, some really high-grade thick intersections there, so 11, 15 metres at 2.2% nickel and 0.5% copper. So some very high grade. There's some historic downhole EM plates hanging off the wireframes there that haven't been tested yet, and certainly limited historic exploration along strike. So another pretty exciting target for us to attack this year. And then also within the Leinster project, we have what we call the Valdez prospect, which is the smaller tenement to the northeast there. We have a 1,200 metre by 450 metre, very strong surface EM plate. It's directly along strike following the mag anomaly there from Saracen's high-grade Waterloo nickel mine. There's been some shallow RAB and air core drilling across the top of this plate, and it's confirmed nickel sulphides in ultramafics. We had up to 8 metres at 0.5% nickel. And very undertested. There's been one RC drill hole tried to drill the plate, and it's actually missed the plate by 80 metres. So this is a very exciting walk-up drill target for us, and could be a whole new discovery, which we plan to drill later this quarter. So that leads us into, I guess, our exploration program for this year. As I said, we've done the air core drilling at Saints, and we're working up those advanced channel targets, which we intend to really campaign with a solid 6 to 9 months of drilling, and really try and significantly increase our existing resource, both tonnes and grade, and then leading into a resource update and potential scoping study towards the end of this year. So we have a pretty clear pathway to development at the Saints project. At Leinster, as I said, later this quarter we'll attack the Valdez target and do some drilling there, and also drilling at the Horn to bring that into JORC 12 and try and increase that resource there. Then we'll step back and do the hard yards like we've done at the Saints, and really work up the basal footwall contact and the channel positions. And as we finish up drilling at Saints, then we'll move to a solid drilling campaign at the Leinster project. So plenty on this year, quite an aggressive exploration program, but certainly solid news flow throughout the next 12 months. So just quickly on the nickel market, I won't go into too much depth here, but needless to say, we're very bullish on nickel. Certainly the short to medium term and the tier 1 products that nickel sulphides offer, I think has a good outlook. And then the EV disruption over the next 5 to 10 years really just is a whole new demand, and so I think the nickel price and the nickel markets are in pretty good stead for the near future. So really, why invest now? Both projects, we have very high grade, massive sulphide resources already, which certainly differentiates us from a lot of our ASX peers. We have some very advanced channel targets at Saints, which we intend to drill over the next 6 to 9 months, and really have a good go at significantly and materially increasing our current resource, both grade and tonnage-wise, and hopefully leading into a potential scoping study. Valdez target could be a whole game changer. It's a walk-up drill target that could be a new discovery. And then obviously the Horn as well, we can really grow that resource organically and attack along strike where it's seen limited exploration. And of course, aggressive exploration program this year with plenty of news to come. So thanks very much for listening to me today. We do have a booth just near the entrance there, so if you want to come and discuss our projects further, please come around. Thank you very much.